Hello and welcome to our beginner series for V-Ray for Maya. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can drastically change the look of your final image with the help of the VFB post-processing options. Take a moment to download the project files linked in the video description so you can play with the scene in your own time. Now, let's get started. Post-processing is a crucial part of your production pipeline. It usually comes in the final stages of your project, but in some cases, you can use it to quickly change the look of your scene without having to manually adjust materials and lights. To get all the benefits of post-processing with V-Ray, we first need to go to the render settings and add some render elements. Render elements allow you to interact with different aspects of your image. We've already added a denoise element, which will help us with the denoising of our image. Now let's add a light mix render element. This render element allows us to change the intensity and color of our light sources. By going to the Attributes menu, you can choose different ways to group your lights. As we have many instance light sources in the scene, I'll let V-Ray group my lights by instances. Next, let's add a Back to Beauty render element preset. This will automatically add all of the beauty render elements like reflection, refraction, and others. Later on, we'll use some of these elements to enhance certain parts of our materials and lights. The final render element we'll add is the crypto matte. Thanks to the crypto matte, we'll be able to use masks based on object name, material name, and others. For this specific project, I'll choose the crypto matte ID type to be by material name. Now we are ready to render our image. When our image is rendered, you can click here and see all of the different render elements. Before we start with the post-processing, let's first set a history folder for our renders. This way, we can track the progress of our image and compare the different outcomes. Here you can set a folder path or click Project Path, which will store all of the images in your project directory. When that's done, you can save your images from this button here. Time for post-processing. The first thing we're going to do is go to the light mix source and change the atmosphere of the image to more of a nighttime scenario. If you don't see the light mix option here, make sure to change the VFB source layer from RGB to light mix. From here, you can make changes to any of the light sources in your scene. To isolate certain light sources, you can hold Control and click on a light source. To change the intensity of a light source, you can click here and drag or just write the number. If you want to change the color of the light source, you can click here and pick the right tone for the light. As I previously mentioned, I want to change the lighting of the scene to a nighttime version. To do so, I will drastically lower some of the light sources, and for the colors, I'll use warmer tones for the lights inside of the building and cooler tones for the lights on the outside. I'm happy with how my scene looks so far, so let's save our progress. If you'd like to test another light setup but don't want to lose this one, you can save a light mix preset from here and then hit Reset. Another way to easily go back to your previous light setup is by clicking the Render in your History tab. Next up, Color Corrections. Right now, our scene is a bit too dark for my liking. There are some very bright areas and some very dark areas. We can change that. By adjusting the dynamic range of our image with the help of the filmic tone mapper, based on the different filmic tone map types, you can drastically change the look of your image. For this image, I'll use the power curve here. I have a lot of control over the dynamic curve visualized below. We adjusted the dynamic range, but our image is still a bit too dark. So let's add an exposure layer and increase the exposure a bit. Now I'd like to bring out some of the highlights and shadows. To do so, I'll use the curve color correction. Just by clicking here and dragging, you can change the tonality of your image. The top represents the highlights and the bottom represents the shadows. I feel like the image is a bit too saturated, so let's add a hue saturation color correction and balance that out. If you want to grade your image towards a certain color, you can use the color balance. With this color correction, you can shift the color of the shadows, mids, and highlight tones. Right now, I feel like the image is a bit too blue for my liking. To change that, I'll add a white balance color correction. From here, you can change the tone of your image from cold to warm with just a slider. So far, so good. Let's save this image and start compositing. First, I'd like to show you how cryptomatte masking works. Note that cryptomatte masks work with all of the color corrections, render elements, as well as the lens effects and the denoiser. By adding any color correction, you can right-click it and add a cryptomatte mask. Once the mask is added, you can use the picker here and click on an object you want to mask. I'd like to mask the white train and enhance its brightness a bit. When you select the material, you see its name here, and you can preview its mask from here. Once that's done, you can head over to the color correction properties and start adjusting them. I'll do the same for the rocks. Much better. Now let's change some of the material properties of our objects with the help of the back to beauty render elements. To be able to use them, we need to be in the composite mode. We can access that mode from here or click to composite. The difference is that when we click composite, this option lets us start compositing from scratch, while to composite converts our light mix to a composite. There you can see the folder light mix with all of our lights. If you want to further correct them, you still have that option. To start changing our materials, let's right-click in the layer stack and add a render element. From here, select the reflection element. As you've probably noticed, our whole scene suddenly became more reflective. That's because we just added an extra layer of reflection to every material. Based on the different blending modes here, your render element can get multiplied, subtracted, added, and more. Because this is a miniature train station set, I think the extra reflections really help by giving everything a more plastic look. You can change not only the materials of your objects, but also the atmosphere, which corresponds to different types of fog or smoke effects. You can change the GI or the overall lighting. Let's say you want a certain material to receive more lighting. You can use the lighting render element and add a cryptomatte mask for that specific material. Let's select the tile material and change the amount of light it receives. Finally, let's turn on the lens effects to finish up our render. I'm really happy with how our scene looks. If you go to the History panel, you can find the comparison tool. Just by assigning A and B to the start and end render, we can see our progress. Now, if you want to export the image, you can use the button here and export as a PNG or a JPEG. This way, every color correction and light mix change will be baked onto your image, allowing you to easily share your work with clients or colleagues. But if you want to export a version of your image where you can still adjust all of your color corrections and light mix changes, you can save your image as a VR IMG. By importing a VR IMG to the VFB, you'll see all of the applied color corrections and light mix effects. For an even better user experience, you can upload your image to the Cloud Collaboration service, where you can set up a project and store all of your progress. Everyone with a link to your project can add comments for further corrections. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. By now, you should have learned how you can use the powerful post-processing options of the VFB to completely transform your images. Make sure to take a look at the rest of the videos in our Getting Started series for Maya. I hope you found this tutorial useful and see you soon.